Okay. When you're getting ready to look at degree plans, the first thing you're going to do is go to the ascc.edu website, and you're going to click on log in to ASCC Online. You will log in using your given password and ID. Once you get into that screen, if you are a faculty member, you should have faculty, advisor, and employee information and possibly other links depending on what your position is. The section that you will go to do degree plans will always be your Advisor Information Center and Advisee Records. Once you're in that part, you will see where it says Advisee Degree Plan. Once you're in this place, that's where you will put your student's number in. If you do not know their student number, you can go to look up student number and type in their name, and it will pull up a selection here for you. You can click select and then tell it to select student once your number is in there, and it will pull up your student's degree plan. Now, I'm using my son's degree plan for a couple of reasons. He's done 2 different programs, and so I want to show you how to read if they've been in 2 different programs, which a lot of our students have, to know what's in the degree plan and what's out of the degree plan. Right now, we are looking at his degree plan from the fall 2014 catalog, the revised one. If we wanted to change to see what he would need to take for other degree plans, you would click in this box right here. You can scroll down and find this. For instance, he took the machine tool certificate, so I could click on that and then click select, and it will change to show me what he took that was in this degree plan. And as you see, that degree plan is actually changed. He completed it under a different catalog. But if you will look under the core curriculum, it shows those things that he took that was in that degree plan. Right here where it says coursework excluded from the degree plan, those are the things that he's taken and that he has credit for, but they do not count under that degree plan for graduation. Down at the bottom, you will see that he earned the machine tool technology short-term certificate, and it will give you the date there. Right here in this section, that's where you will look, especially when they come in when they're first being advised or first or second semester and you're needing to know math, English, and reading scores. If you will look, he took the Compass. The date here was 11/14/2012. Remember that those dates need to be within the last 3 years. If something's over 3 years old, you need to send them to the testing center to get updated scores. Right here, you'll see he had a pre-algebra score and then an algebra score. Anytime you're advising for math, you want to look for that algebra score because that's generally what they need to be able to test into college level math. If they do not have an algebra score, then you look at the pre-algebra score, and that's going to place them into the Math 090 or 098. He actually had college algebra and trig scores. You don't see that very often, but some students will. But the algebra score is pretty much the one we generally look at, college algebra, if they have it, and that usually scores them into 112 or 113. Right up under that, you'll see asset scores. We do not do asset anymore, but occasionally you will find a student that was here previously or was at another institution that did use it. You may see scores there. Generally, we use whatever the most up-to-date scores are. ACT scores are also here. You will have a date for those. Those generally also need to be within the last 3 years. Anything that's older than 3 years, you always need to send them back to Sharon or the testing center for them to check for more up-to-date scores. Now, if you've got ACT and Compass scores, you want to look at both, and you place the student in whichever course that the scores puts them into the highest section. For example, here, for instance, if he had had an 18 here in math, but his Compass score placed him into a higher level, then I would use his Compass score to place him into the math. If it was vice versa, then you do that. So you look at both scores, and whichever score places them into the highest math or English or reading, then that's the one that you would use. I'm going to change out of this one because it's a certificate plan and put him back into the AS, which is what he's in now. General Studies. He is in General Studies, so I will select it and click that. Now, if you notice, it completely changed. All of his technical courses are now down under where it says coursework excluded from degree plan. Do you see that? So those are not in the degree plan he's in now. He's in a General Studies one. If you look up at the top, this is where you can check GPA and how many hours they have in and out of plan. If you'll see in plan, he's got 52 hours, GPA 3.4. That's how many hours he has in this General Studies plan. And then right here, you'll see cumulative total, 79. That's how many hours he's completed altogether, because those hours are including the General Studies and the machine tool degree. You'll also look right here, it says college level placement, English 101, Math 112. He actually placed into 113 because we used his ACT score rather than his COMPAS score there. Now, the next part that I want to look at is how that the General Studies degree plans are sectioned off. You'll look right here, it says Area 1. Area 1 is always going to include only English 101 and English 102. Those are your composition courses. Anybody that's in a General Studies or a Liberal Arts degree plan will have both of those courses listed there. You'll look here, it tells you that there are 6 total hours in this area, and that accounts for the English 101 and 102. Right here, it will always tell you how many hours they've completed in that area. When you're reading degree plans, you'll always see the prefix for your course, the course title, the number of hours it's worth, the number of hours they've completed. If they're registered in the course, you will see a RG there or a PR for pre-registered. I think maybe PG. You'll see that in there. And right here, you'll see where they're in courses. And you'll see that he's completed the second area, which is Humanities and Fine Arts. Now, we have one required course in this area, and that is speech. So that's always going to be listed first. Under Fine Arts, you'll see how many Fine Arts courses they've taken. Under Literature, that would be your English 271 or 272. And then under Humanities Elective, they can take another literature or any of these courses that are listed here, ethics or one of the 2 religions. The Fine Arts requirement can be met with any of your art, music, or now theater. The third area is your natural science and math. You'll see that there are 11 required hours in that degree plan. Under math, you have to have 1 college level that is Math 112 or higher. Math 100 does not count here. It does count as an elective, but not as your college level math course. So you can take Math 112 or 113 or any other higher math than that to account for that. Under your science requirements, yes.
We can see it now.
Now, yes, I see it.
Okay.
And you'll see that there's the area 2 that I was referring to. And you see the courses that he's completed there. He's completed all 12 hours. And that's where I was talking about. It gives you the note telling you what can be used as your fine arts requirements and as your humanities elective requirements here. Under Area 3, you'll see natural science, and this is where I was referring to the math. That has to be Math 112 or higher. Math 112, 113. Math 110 can also be used there, even though it's not a 112. It can also be used in some degree plans. Under your natural sciences, we've changed one thing that's in this area. Students used to have a sequence. In other words, they had to have biology 103 and 104. Now students that are doing those degrees can take 2 different sciences. In fact, in a lot of our elementary ed degrees, they want you to have a biology and a physical science or a biology and a chemistry. But those are dependent really on where they're transferring to, so that's something you always need to check your STARS agreements and then go to the actual colleges they're transferring to and see what sciences they prefer for them to take in the particular degree plan they're in. That's probably one of the touchier sections is your Area 3 with the math and with your sciences. You always want to go look at those STARS agreements. And actually, I usually go past STARS and go to the actual websites where their catalogs and degree plans are for the school they're going to, because sometimes even the STARS agreement will give you the general courses, but they're very specific ones some institutions want there, especially when you're getting into your engineering and nursing and some of those high science and high math areas. Area 4 is your history and social science areas. Our students also have to have 12 hours in this area to graduate. Now, one thing that you have to look at here is that in Area 4 and back to Area 2, students have to have a sequence in either literature, which means they have to have 2 literatures, or 2 histories to graduate. And that's a requirement at most 4-year institutions. Again, on that, it is very good to check your STARS agreements and their gen ed requirements, because some schools require you to have the sequence in both, regardless. Now, most of our students end up with a sequence in literature and a sequence in history, because in order to get the hours for graduation, they end up taking 2 histories or 2 lits as part of their elective hours anyway. But that's something you always want to check when you're looking for graduation requirements, is to make sure that they've got 2 courses, either in the literature or in the history. Under the social sciences, there is at least 1 history course required. The other 9 hours can be anything that are in economics, political science, psychology, or sociologies, or histories, which are the courses that we teach. But they can come in any of those areas for the other 9 hours. And again, you really do want to look at degree, their STARS agreements and the other institutions to determine that, because again, for instance, if they're going to be a 4-year business major, generally they need economics, both economics classes there. Whereas if they're doing gen ed, they can do any of those. Education majors usually need your Psych 200 and 210. Nursing majors usually need those. Under Area 5, this is electives, and pretty much anything they want to take that is a transferable course can fall in under electives. Again, that's another one that you really want to be careful about what they're choosing, especially those that are going into engineering, pre-med fields, those kinds of things, because their particular math, they may need to go up into calculus like my son did for what he's planning on going into. They may need more biologies. Sometimes if they're going into education, they need more the literatures and the histories, those types of things. So always be careful to look. It is optional as far as our graduation requirements are. They can pick any of the 19 hours they want to take, but when they're transferring, they need to be careful, because some things they take, it will transfer, but it may not actually apply toward their graduation there. And if you look down at the bottom, you'll also see that we have our honors PTK courses and any scholarship courses for any of our athletic programs or arts programs. Those courses fall up under here too. Those are actually counted in as electives depending on where they're transferring to also. But they do count toward our graduation. Now, when you're trying to figure total hours for graduation, again, you will go back up to this part where it says in plan. Most of our students have to have 60 to 66 hours to graduate there. Now, I will tell you again why you need to be careful. Most 4-year schools will only take 60 hours worth of transfer work, because their degree programs are at minimum 120. It really depends on how many hours their programs are. They range from 120 to 136. So it just really depends on what the programs are. But generally, they will not take over 50% of the coursework from the school they're graduating from into the program that they're coming into. They have to have at least 50% of their work there. Okay. I think that's probably about it as far as reading the degree plan, unless somebody's got some specific questions. And I know Martha's going to be up in just a few minutes to talk to you more about Compass scores and how to read those when you get the score reports. But any questions from any of the other campuses? All right, well, then I'm finished.